It's hard to be someone who collects trading card games in a world where everything is constantly going to the moon. Prices are exploding 24/7, the hype cycle never ends, and it seems like no matter where you turn, there's really no place you can get a good deal. But through all of this insanity, there are still ways to collect TCGs. I'm going to talk about the ways I have continued collecting through the TCG insanity where everything is constantly pumping, how I am looking to save my hard-earned money and still build my collection, and things that I think will be tried and true through the good times and the bad, which may very well be coming in the next year or two. Let's talk about all of that in today's video, and I will warn each and every one of you. It's going to be a more ranty, free-flowing video than I normally put out, so stay buckled up and stay tuned. Here we go. We'll get the obligatory none of this is financial advice out of the way right now. This is just my strategy and what I do when things get a little bit crazy. And as it's been in the recent past and foreseeable future, the trading card game space has been insane. Heck, I did a video series where I graded Pokemon cards that I bought for under $20 a piece, and the PSA 10s are now going for $500. It's been an absolute ride. But it's not just the Pokemon explosion that has me worried. If you look behind me, it's very obvious. I've become a pretty avid sealed product collector. This stems from my childhood when I saw a bunch of TCG booster boxes and could never get one. Now I'm in a position where I can buy some TCG booster boxes, put them on my shelf, save them for a rainy day, and open them and collect them and do whatever I want with them as I see fit. But that's almost impossible in the Magic the Gathering ecosystem that we're in right now. And so I've had to implement a strategy that I talked about a couple years ago on the channel that I'm bringing back. And I do things like zig when others zag. And my first piece of advice is going to be to look away from the popular products. That's not to say don't buy anything popular that you enjoy, don't spend your hard-earned money how you want, but if you look behind me, you'll see that there's an extensive collection of things like Streets of New Capenna and Dominaria Remastered, and all of these were purchased when they were extremely cheap. Heck, I think I spent $90 to $100 on the Streets of New Capenna collector booster boxes because, well, I just liked the set. It was something that brings me a lot of joy. I enjoyed playing the set. I enjoyed playing the pre-release and the release with a bunch of buddies of mine. Shout out Big Daddy Vegas, you know who you are. And for this reason, I bought a bunch of the product. And yeah, over time, it's gone up in value. But most importantly, I was able to add to my collection at a price that fit me by looking where others weren't. At the time, Streets of New Capenna was the lowest of the lows, considered to be a bad release, and people didn't take to it. And while people still might not love it, I saved, over 50% of my money, as boxes are around $200 right now, by kind of buying boxes, no matter what the community said, that I enjoyed. The same can be said here. Now, $90 and $100 collector booster boxes might not be the jam anymore, but things like Spider-Man, and if you look at recent trends for Avatar collector booster boxes, are going down. And yeah, they're acting as Magic the Gathering sets should, but there is a bit of speculation and fear in the community right now that these products will keep going down, and I'm going to be super watchful if those go close to distribution pricing or what game stores are paying for these products to scoop up a couple of my own. But often that's not the case. You look at the era of Final Fantasy where you can't find a cheap booster box anywhere. If you're an avid customer at your local game store, maybe you got one, maybe you got two, and if you're someone who shops at Min-Max Games and you put your pre-orders in, you got locked in at a great price. They're not a sponsor of this channel, they're just good friends at a cool game store that I really enjoy, but you can't always find a good deal on these things when everything's going crazy. So zig when others zag doesn't just mean look at the sets that are less popular, but things like vintage, both in Pokemon and Magic the Gathering, is something I really believe in as a collectible. Look, when you buy a couple beta cards and you put them in a binder, I attest that you will just start to feel some sort of way about them. The feel, the look, the texture of these beta cards just brings you back. It teleports you through Magic history. And if you are a brand new player that's come on with Universes Beyond, or even someone who's been around TCGs for the better part of 2 decades, it's a wonderful opportunity as everybody is looking over here to the newest and the flashiest and the $30,000 Soul Stone to be pulled out of the box to say, hey, maybe it might behoove me to pick up that beta fireball that I want to play in my commander deck, that giant growth that I just want to slam on the table with my friends, or put in a binder to remind me as a piece of Magic history. Maybe I want to upgrade my Soul Ring to be an older Soul Ring and have that around for the whole time that I'm playing Magic the Gathering. All of these are ways that you can kind of pierce the veil of hype and craziness and still get collectible. And it's not just Magic the Gathering. Heck, most of these trading card games and their vintage products are not pumping. If you look at Disney Lorcana, the Elsa is about the same price, which I would attest is maybe the key card of the entire game, maybe the key card of all of the releases that you can open in a booster box, save for D23 promos and championship promos and stuff like that. It's always iconic to have the most iconic card, the most expensive card, the most sought after card that you could buy out of a product, and the price has been relatively stable over the better part of a year to a year and a half. Same with vintage Pokemon. Big shout out to my buddy Louie over at Kitchen Table TCG, who I go to for almost all my Pokemon advice. You can check out his YouTube channel at youtube.com/kitchentabletcg. He told me about the price of base sets and base set Pokemon cards and vintage graded Pokemon. And while something like even 2016 I have right here, Charizard, is really cool to have, vintage Pokemon in my opinion is cooler, and it's not much more expensive. There's opportunity there where if these games... Smack my microphone. If these games that are doing the thing that they are wanting to do, bringing in players and making them stick, the natural path to collectability or a collector in these games is to collect what you know right now, collect what is iconic to you, and then eventually traverse down the path into the game's history and collect some historic artifacts from that game. And the cool thing about those is, well, no more are being created. So Zig When Others Zag is a major pillar, a massive tenet that I use, and I use it even when the market is not working the best, maybe when things are down. I mentioned some of the collector booster boxes I bought in the past. Murders at Karlov Manor would be another example, and even things like Bloomborough and Wilds of Eldraine, those collector booster boxes and the draft booster boxes and play booster boxes in those cases were not wildly expensive upon their release. There was disbelief in the product as the Magic the Gathering ecosystem had not come to its full hype cycle fruition at this point, and because of that I was able to get a lot of really cool products at a good price because I just thought they were good sets. I bought the things that I liked and believed in. I saw really good cards in those sets and said, I think this is cheap and I think I'm going to enjoy having it. But beyond that, we talk about the expensive, flashy, high-end collector booster boxes. What you can't see is the collection of over 100 draft boxes and play booster boxes that I have down below, anchoring the shelves down here. Maybe I'll do a collection video one day. Let me know if you're interested in that in the comment section below. But these products have multiple functions, right? Not only do I get to possibly buy these products at a discount through rewards programs like my buddy over at Kitchen Table TCG, like Rudy, maybe getting them off the shelf at a game store when things are not the most exciting, but they're versatile products that I can use in many ways. On a day when I just want to hang out with my friends, we can do a draft, we can do a sealed event, we can sit down and just crack packs, open a beer, and have some fun. These products are versatile. They let you play Magic and time travel to the time that those sets were released. And yes, I know the online discourse is every set Magic releases is terrible and I would never want to open that product, and here's why. I see all of you in the comment section. Yet these products continue to be opened and people continue to play Magic the Gathering because, well, it's the most played trading card game in the known universe. And for that reason, I love collecting play booster boxes and draft booster boxes of sets that I really enjoyed regardless of their value. The versatility of the product, the opportunity it affords my friends and I, the chance to relive some favorite Magic memories and play some Magic the Gathering is awesome. And the fact that if they sit on the shelf forever and one day I sell off my collection and they hold some value, well, that's even better. But most importantly, it is a tool that I can use to have fun with trading card games that I have come to know and love. And going beyond that, when you're looking at something like Pokemon or even Disney Lorcana, there's an opportunity here to maybe show some faith in the collectability of the game. One day opening these boxes could be a very exciting experience. There's a bunch of Fusion Strike behind me. So which way do I have to turn? There's a bunch of Fusion Strike behind me, and everyone goes, how do you have 2 cases of Fusion Strike? Well, because for the longest time, the boxes were $90. I just bought them because I liked them. My kid was, on their way, and we were going to be getting into Pokemon together, and I wanted to have these Pokemon cards around just to have that experience. And now, one day I can say, wow, I opened a really expensive box of Pokemon. I have that availability. I can have that rush if I want it. I can trade it off for something I want differently, or I can just look at it and be a collector. I have a lot of people in my comment section going, I don't understand what this is. What is behind you? I'm a collector. I could never have these things. I like them. And by following along and saying, hey, I just like this thing, regardless of what naysayers and online, desperation and people, putting down the sets might say, I just liked having it. And for that reason, I was able to pick those up at a pretty good price. I would say that we may be headed into a downturn. And when we do hit that downturn, if you stuck around this long in the video, when we hit that downturn, I will probably focus less on things like vintage and more on new products, new releases, and things that I find fun in the current ecosystem. And the reason for that is vintage seems relatively stable. I think vintage has an opportunity to, over the long run, outpace everything, be really cool, and be something that is so hard to get at one point. You're just happy you got it when you could. And for this reason, I always try to find, hey, if I'm going to allocate my hard-earned dollars when everything else is going to the moon and I don't see a ton of value or fun or opportunity, like it doesn't excite me to buy $1,000 booster box. That's not fun for me. But spending some money on some vintage and beta cards and maybe some base set Pokemon, a base set I'm looking to buy, that is cool. That is something in 3, 4, 5, 6 years I will still open up, I will still look at and love to just have. And for that reason, when things are super exciting like now, I maybe turn to that page, or when things have calmed down a little bit, I see what's going on in the modern ecosystem. But all in all, I think it's about recognizing that if you believe in the long-term stability of the things you are collecting, if you are here for the long run, as they say, then it's safe to maybe pivot how you spend your money. If you're looking for just short-term games, constant pumps in an ecosystem, and hey, I made $100 on my box here and there, well, this strategy in this video probably isn't for you. But I'm someone who, if you've been around since the start of this channel, that's just been collecting stuff, and I've just been happy to have it, and it brings me joy every single day to come into my office, to sit down for my regular 9 to 5 and just have as my background as a talking point for almost anyone who comes on my Teams meetings. That's always very exciting. But if you see collectability this way, you can let me know in the comment section below. If you have a different strategy, something that works for you, I'm all ears. And I do want to take a second to shout out the channel members of this channel. They help me keep the box openings on this channel going. They help keep the camera equipment going. And the next project that we're doing, for those who don't know, we did a whole video about cardboard finance. Is kind of, it's dying. TCG player doesn't want you scraping that data, and we're maybe looking for a TCG player partnership and affiliate link and stuff like that. So we're going to have to put an end to that product. And they really did kill my whole scraper there with their AI scraping detection. It was a good job by them. But I really do appreciate all the channel members. I appreciate everyone's hit that sub button. And hey, if you stuck around to the end of this video and you haven't hit that sub button, I'd appreciate it if you do, because the overwhelming majority of viewers of this channel are not subscribed. And for a small channel like mine, people clicking that sub and that like button help more than you can possibly imagine. All right, let me know if I should do a whole breakdown of my collection video and things of that nature. Until next time, you guys know me. My name is Josh, and well, we'll see you around. All right, goodbye, everyone.